Hello and welcome to Raising Runnies. I wasn't planning on doing this yet, but due to all the formula shortages and contaminants and stuff like that, I thought it would be best to start a series on how I fed my babies. Because I've done different ways. I learned some good things, bad things from them because no baby's the same. And I think it would be really good to kind of go through and explain what I went through with each of my children. My first one will be Michaela Faith, my oldest. She's 17, almost 18 now. I was a first-time mom. And these series would be good for whether you're a first-time mom, never had children, and you would like to learn as much as you can. I do recommend, even before you get pregnant or you think you want children or whatever, learn and read as much as you can. There's a very good book called The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. When I read that, it was like, oh my gosh. I mean, I didn't realize there was so much things out there about breastfeeding. I mean, it's just breastfeeding, right? We'll get into some of this with the different series because I may have to do different ones because there is so much out there. I don't want to overload people. I'll try to give a little bit at a time to kind of let you take it in because, like I say, there's just a lot. And it's not hard. It's just taking the time and being patient. We'll start off with my first child. I was 24 when she was born. I did talk with a couple of people from the health department in Mississippi, and I think the United States, I'm not sure how it works, does have health departments. And me being young, I went to that lady and I didn't know what to expect. She kind of scared me. It wasn't the lady I've worked with later, but she brought out this stuffed breast and stuff and was talking about things and stuff. And what I realized later when I started helping with the health department is that she kind of overloaded me, and it scared me because I never had a child. I never breastfeed, and too much information just really overloaded me. So it takes a little bit of time and studying. So if you have not had your baby, you're pregnant, or even if you're a second, third time mom, or like me, 6 or 7, there's always stuff to learn. There's all kinds of tips, tricks, do's, don'ts, and you'll learn that as you have your child. You'll know what's best for you and your child. But the breast is best. My mom formula fed me and my oldest brother, which was born in the hospital. And then the other 3 she breastfed exclusively. So I was around it, but being younger and everything, I still didn't know and learn a lot of other things. So when I had Michaela Faith, a lactation specialist is on staff at the hospital and come help you. And they come in, but Michaela Faith, as soon as I had her, she latched on perfectly. They helped me with the holds. There's so many different ways you can hold them, the football hold or just different things that makes it easier, especially if you had a C-section or this, that. I didn't with her, but sometimes if you had a C-section for things, you don't want nothing on your stomach. So you might want to do the football hold where the baby's head's here and their body goes up under. What really helps is a boppy. And that's the thing that goes around your stomach here, because it holds them, even though the baby may be only 4, 5, 6 pounds, and I even had one that was 9 pounds. Over a period of time, holding that baby and your arms is not used to it, you can really get tired. And with the twins, I got something called my breast friend. And it was the same shape, but it was a thick, heavy foam that went around me, and it buckled in the back. So it helped them up, because the little pillow with one baby's okay, and you can keep your own. But when you have twins, you want that My Breast Friend, and it really holds them up, and you don't have to do no work. You can hold their heads and nurse them both at the same time. I'll try to get into more of that later, or another video maybe with the twins. With Michaela Faith, the first 4 months I breastfed. Went well, but I worked a lot. And even though I pumped some, I didn't pump a lot. I didn't know a lot about pumping and stuff like that. I quit pumping. I quit breastfeeding. I just decided to jump onto bottles, and I was like, well, everybody else is doing it. Why not, you know? So I started a formula. Well, she changed. She was like night and day. Before, she was such a happy baby, no problems, not colicky, not stomach problems, no gassiness, no fussy. And when I put her on the formula, she just went to crying all the time and just tightening up and screaming. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what has happened to my baby? Well, the doctor recommended changing formulas. Isn't that what we all do? We just try another formula. That one don't work, let's try another one. Well, I found out iron is in all of them now. Used to back, I think when my mom used to have us, she had to go to one that had no iron. But now they will not let you do that. And iron hurts my stomach as an adult. I can't take iron. I get sick. My stomach hurts. I have to take a slow release when I take it after food and go to sleep to be able to take my iron. So you can imagine a baby having all them vitamins and iron and stuff hurting their stomach. Well, we ended up going to a very expensive, very, very expensive. I forgot how much it was a can. It's called Alimentum. That was pre-digested for Michaela Faith. That still wasn't helping her. It was better, but she was still having stomach problems. And that stuff stunk. Oh my gosh, that was so rotten. I hated to even mix her up a bottle. It stunk so bad. One day, she got to screaming and crying so much she wouldn't calm down. I went to my mom. I said, I don't know what to do. And she said, Amy, it's not right for a baby to scream that much and cry that much. Take her to the hospital. Something's wrong. We went to the hospital. With her being a baby crying, they took me back. No problem. I mean, they rushed me straight back. They called the pediatrician. He come in and he looked at her and different things, and he couldn't figure out, and they kept trying stuff and doing stuff, and we couldn't figure out what was wrong. So the first thing they wanted to do then was a spinal tap. Well, I didn't know. I was a young mom. I let them do it, but I couldn't even go in there. I was crying and so upset that my baby couldn't calm down. Maggie went in there with her and done it, and I hate that she done that. She was a little teenager doing it, but she was stronger than I was, and she stayed right by Faith's side. And they done that, and she didn't have the problem that they thought. And they kept running tests. They couldn't, so they just started putting her on like a Miralax so that she was constipated. So they put her on a Miralax daily, and I had to put a capful of Miralax in her first bottle every morning. That kind of cleaned her out, and she done better. And then she got put on that Alimentum, which is a pre-digested formula that stunk and nasty. Man, and that stuff was expensive. I forgot how much a can, because the other cans are what, I don't know at that time. I can't remember if they was like $8 or $10, and that was probably $30 or $40 a can. I don't know, and it may have been more than that. I just know it was expensive, and you go through a can about every 3 days, 2 to 3 days, something like that. We made it through that. When I ended up having my next child, McKinley Hope, I didn't want to experience that again. I regretted not breastfeeding Faith longer. I started learning more about breastfeeding, and that's when I went to work with the health department. I was the peer counselor for the lactation specialist, which I done a lot of the calling and talking with people, mailing out information, just trying to help educate people. So I'd already went through so many classes to be the peer counselor, and I really enjoyed it. I love talking to people, but I learned real quick that it just really hurt my feelings if people didn't want to breastfeed. And I mean, it's your own choice. It's fine. After knowing what my daughter went through and the pain and the spinal tap and all that because of me, that I could have breastfed her and she would have been fine, it just really hurt that I know the breast is best. best. Breast milk, human milk is the best. But I know not all people can breastfeed. It's not that hard. Usually if you have patience and try, it may take a little bit longer for some women than the others, but normally it don't. Now there's a very rare occasion that some cannot if they've had surgery, breast surgery before and stuff like that. Sometimes you're not able to, but some have successfully breastfed even after having breast surgery or anything like that. Before I had McKinley Hope, I went through the classes, I learned as much as I could about breastfeeding, become a peer counselor, helped others, and when I had her, it was so much easier. I mean, I knew so much more and knew that I did not want to give up. I had no problems. As soon as I had her, she latched to the breast, nursed her, and you nurse on cue. I don't wake my babies up. It's about every 2 to 3 hours. She'll let you know, she'll wake up. And you know they're getting enough. A lot of people says, well, how do I know they're getting enough? What if I'm starving my baby? If they have wet and dirty diapers, they're getting whatever goes in their body is going to come back out. So you know they're getting enough. One of the things I really liked was when you're nursing, the baby has less chance of being obese because most parents, especially new parents, but even later on, think when they give them a formula bottle, 8 ounces, that they're still crying after that 8 ounces. They'll turn around and fix another one and give them another one, and then they're still crying. Well, they've overeat. They're crying because their stomach hurts. Not that they needed another bottle. They've overeat. And then every time you give them another bottle and stuff, it's stretching their stomach. They're more likely to be obese when they're older. So when you're nursing them, your body makes just enough, and your baby knows when to stop. And you don't have to get up in the middle of the night warming bottles, fixing bottles. Your breast is always the right temperature. They're always warm. There's nothing wrong. You can always feed them just anywhere. And I love that aspect because with Faith, after 4 months, trying to go back and fix bottles, I'd forget her bottles and stuff. I was like, oh no, I'm a bad mama. I'd forget the formula. I'd forget the bottles and all that. It was so hard to remember to get water and to fix the bottles and have the formula and all that. That was just stressful for me. So when I had Hope, it was just so much easier. I didn't have to worry about the bottles, this and that. We just go. No matter what, if we jumped in the car and went, I was able to feed my baby. I just made sure I had extra diapers, wipes, and clothes. Hope done really, really well. I usually start with all my children about 6 months introducing them to a sippy cup, and that's with breast milk. Then by a year old, 8 months to a year old, they're drinking sippy cups easily, and I started introducing regular cups without the lid. So by 2, they're drinking out of regular cups, no problem. So with McKinley Hope, by the time she was 8 months, I weaned her straight to a sippy cup because we'd started 6 months giving her sippy cups. So she was so used to it that by 8 months, I quit nursing. But I still give her breast milk. I had so much that I made, I would pump off and on, and I had some stored up in the freezer. After she got over a year old, we kept using all the milk in the freezer. Well, when she got a little bit older, close to 2, around 2, we started giving her cow's milk. She started having stomach issues. She was always crying and just so fussy and so I'm like, here we go again. But this time it was cow's milk. My first one, it ended up being formula. We ended up, since I ran out of breast milk and all that, I went to the next best thing to breast is goat's milk. Goat's milk is very, very good, and it's lactose free, so you don't have to worry about the lactose, and I think that might have been what was causing her problems with the cow's milk. I bought some from a lady down the road that milked her goats, and every few days I'd buy some, and that could get expensive and everything, plus I had to go drive because it wasn't right down the road. It's probably about 30 minutes. So we ended up buying our own goats, and I milked them every day for a long time. We had them until we decided to sell them a few years later. I milked them twice a day, and we had more than enough milk. I gave milk away, and I even had a friend that had a baby that needed some milk, so I'd give her some too. And goat's milk is just so easy on their stomach and does not hurt them. Actually, even if you're an adult, goat's milk is good for you. If you have ulcers, stomach problems, it heals the inside lining. Goat's milk is very, very good from adults down children, babies. If you cannot find somebody local, you can buy it in the grocery store. I've seen it on like that shelf life stuff that lasts like a year. They have it there, or they even have it in the cans. And something I saw the other day, a mom has started making the powdered kind of like formula, but it's a goat milk base. So that's something else you may want to check into. I don't know anything about it. I doubt it's as good as fresh, but I think it would be better for your baby than formula. That's just a little bit about my first two children, the different things I went through, from breastfeeding to formula to breastfeeding to goat's milk. I was going to kind of let you know, since I did touch on the stomach. It's called belly balls. It's an educational tool. It kind of lets you know, because most people think you have to give them a 3-ounce bottle, 2 or 3 ounces when they're born, and within a few days they're going up to 6. Next thing you know, they're giving them 8-ounce bottles. Well, I'm hoping this will help kind of make you mentally understand that your baby's tummy is not that big. You just had them. They can go for a few days. The best thing for them to have, even if you don't breastfeed, even if you extract with your hands, the first little bit of stuff that comes out of your breast, they call it mother's gold. Best part, you can take and give it to them by a little syringe or a spoon or anything, but you give that to them. That is the best stuff to kind of keep them from getting sick. So anyway, newborn on day 1 is a small marble. It's the size of a baby's tummy. You can think a thimble full of milk will fill up that baby. So when you hear, I'm not getting enough milk when I'm expressing, my baby's starving, they are not. You just had them, they're plenty full, and that little bit of milk, even if it's a few drops, which actually the baby gets more, you hand expressing does not caress your breast like the baby's tongue, and it actually will, your body works better with the baby nursing than if you was trying to pump or hand express. But the baby is getting some. So a thimble size of milk will be plenty for the baby. Every couple hours, 3 hours, whenever your baby cues. I had one of my children was every 3 hours. One of them would go 3 to 4 hours. I didn't wake them up because within 4 to 6 weeks, they were sleeping all night. So I don't recommend waking up a baby every 2 hours to eat, because you're getting them in the habit that they're going to do it all night and you're going to be sleep deprived. Stomach capacity on day 3 is like a shooter marble, 22 to 27 milliliters. A hickory nut? I mean, a hickory nut's not very big. Then the stomach capacity on day 10 is a ping pong ball. So it only takes 60 to 81 milliliters to fill up that ping pong ball. And by 10 days, people's giving their babies at least 6 ounces, sometimes 8 ounces at a time. And they're fussing, they're having tummy aches and screaming and just in pain because they are overeating, their stomach stretching out, and that causes them to be more obese. Stomach capacity of an adult is only the size of a softball. And we eat a lot more than that. Oh, I didn't read that part. When I was studying, they didn't have that softball part on there. But, ooh, I eat more than a softball. It's like, no wonder I'm fat. That kind of gives you an idea of a baby's tummy, to not overfeed them. A can of formula, which should definitely last 3 days. And then another thing, if you do breast milk and you want to store it, even if it's in a refrigerator, like if you pump, this is a good thing for human milk storage guidelines. freshly pumped or expressed milk up to 4 hours. That's just leaving it out. Formula, you can leave it up to 2 hours and you discard it. You have to discard it. But breast milk can go up to 4 hours. No refrigeration, no nothing. So I have pumped and went somewhere, had it in my diaper bag, time to feed the baby. That way, because I nurse them before we leave, and then we get somewhere, and then I had to give them a bottle or something. And this was after they was older, probably 3 to 6 months. I didn't give them a bottle until they was older like that, because they was learning to sit up and do things, and it was easier to give them a bottle than try to take them out. And I had other children. So it's okay up to 4 hours for freshly pumped milk. Okay, if you want to put it in the refrigerator, you pump milk, you put it in the refrigerator, it's good for up to 4 days in there. Freezer, like the refrigerator freezer on the top of the separate door, it is good for up to 6 months. That's a long time. You can pull it out, and all I done was put it in warm water, not hot. You don't have to put it in the microwave or anything. You put it in warm water. By the time you go get the baby, change your diaper, and come back, it's ready to put in a bottle and feed them. It's already thawed. It thaws quickly, and it's just perfectly warm. And if you have a deep freezer, it can last up to 12 months in there. I bought the Lancinol milk bags, but Walmart actually started selling some that worked pretty good. But my Lancinol was my favorite because they didn't leak, and I could write on them. I put how many ounces in them, and I put the date every time. That way, every time I added more, I had a good supply, and I knew that I could leave them up to 12 months in the freezer. I hope this little bit of information can help you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll read them and get back with you. If I don't know the answer, I will get an answer for you, or I'll give you the number or something that will help. There is also, I forgot, I think I'll add this to it too. I had to write it down because I haven't been with the health department in over 13 years. They've got some new items or new information, and I'm going to put in my description some links that should help you if you want to breastfeed and learn more, if you're fixing to be a new time mom, if you're a second, third time mom and never breastfeed, or if you've breastfeed and want to learn new tips and stuff. I'm going to put some links in there that you can do. One of the links has information when to call a lactation consultant, what to look for when breastfeeding, weaning, using a nipple shield if they're tongue-tied, survival for the first 2 weeks, surgery on breastfeeding moms, which you can do because sometimes it's a little different. If you've had surgery, your body has to restart and has never had a baby and you're trying to start, so it's different as if you had the baby vaginally. Storage and handling of breast milk, sore nipples, and etc. There's just all kinds of stuff on some of these descriptions that will help you. There's also a new app that's called Pacify, and I don't know why they call it Pacify because that's one of the things I didn't go over. Do not give them a pacifier or artificial nipples like a bottle for the first, I would say, at least 4 weeks. I prefer not to do it until they get older and you have to go somewhere and dad has to watch the baby, or you have to have a babysitter and then let them give it to them. That way they're still used to coming back to you and nursing. It's an app that with breastfeeding questions, I think you can ask. It also has 24/7 video chat. And if you use this code, this comes from a friend of mine with the health department, you can use the code MS038 and it will make it free for you to use. So that would be very helpful. I mean, I wish I had that when my first child. It would probably made it easier. But again, it's called Pacify, Pacify, and the code to make it free is MS038. I would definitely recommend getting that and trying it. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. Try it. What will it hurt? I will drop some links in there in the description. There's different books like The One Mentally Art of Breastfeeding that was very, very helpful to me when I was studying to be a peer counselor and being a breastfeeding mom. I'm not getting paid to do this. This is just something I want to do from my heart because I feel that passionate about for the baby to be healthy, and the best is the breast. God give you breast to feed your babies, just like cows, dogs. I mean, that's what we're made to do, is nurse our babies. But I understand if you can't. You can breastfeed without breastfeeding. You can exclusively pump. I mean, it's fine. I would recommend, if you're going to do that, to get an electric pump that pumps both breasts at the same time. There's Medilla, Meta, there's all kinds of different ones. I've even heard some insurances may even give you one. So you may want to contact your insurance and see if they will. Don't know if that's true or not. That's just a rumor that I've heard. And if they do, hey, that'll save you $200 or $300 for a pump. But you pump both breasts every 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours. You need to do it at least 8 to 12 times a day, and at least once at night. If you can do it a couple of times, but once at night, to keep your supply going. Exclusively pump and feed your baby nothing but breast milk from pumping. I even had a mom one time that done that with twins. She pumped enough, she kept both twins because she wanted them to have breast milk, and they did. Some moms, if they have a low supply or need some help, you can go to a milk bank. Sometimes your hospitals have milk banks, or there's somewhere, so Google it and find out and how you can get breast milk. And some of the baby's insurance, especially if they're preemies or anything like that, may have sources to get breast milk from breast banks to help you if you have problems with your supply. I do need to say this, and I may try to do just a video for it. Some tips to do and not to do if you're going to breastfeed. A lot of moms think they have to drink milk to make milk. That is false. Whole milk is not recommended until they're 2. So you drinking milk as a breastfeeding mom is not good for the babies, and it will make them fussy and constipated and crying. So the best thing for you to do is drink water. Water, water, water. Keep you a glass of water. Water's good for you even when you're not pregnant. When you're not breastfeeding, you're supposed to drink 8 to 10 8-ounce glasses a day. So when you're breastfeeding, drink more than that. The more you drink, the better it is to produce milk. Oatmeal increases your supply. There's different foods that you can't eat that does increase, and oatmeal is one of them. If you do like pastas, pizzas, stuff like that, and tomatoes, and spicy stuff, that's something you might want to avoid until the baby gets a few months old, maybe at least a few weeks. And you can test things, like tomatoes is not good. That gives them a tummy ache big time, the acid and stuff. So even if you're not eating tomato sandwich, you're eating pizza, spaghetti, anything that has a tomato sauce, you will have a fussy baby. And it may not be that night, but by the next day, you're like, why is he or she so fussy and stuff? Like, oh, I ate that yesterday, yeah. Or that spicy something. So if you know that by the next day and remember what you had the day before, you may want to lay off that until they get a little bit older. But by the time they get a few months old, usually you can eat anything and it does not bother them at all. But that's just a few more little tips. If your supply is going, but you think either you're not getting enough, like especially if you're exclusively pumping, try herbs like fenugreek, blessed thistle. I think that's 2 that you can take at the same time. I've done goat's rue. Goat's rue is something that works the best. It costs a little bit more, but you can get it on Amazon and everything. My oldest son, I nursed him and he felt like he was just still wanting to eat some. So my supply seemed to be a little bit dropping. I bought the goat's rue and done it, which I didn't do it too terribly long. It didn't take long to fill up the spot, and then he was over there like goom, 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 like he was. So I had to actually start pumping a little bit or hand express a little bit before I fed him because I thought he was drowning. But you will learn as you go. No one's perfect. It takes time, and you can do this. And there is different people out there that can help. If you live in the United States and there is a health department, call them. They have lactation specialists that help you. It doesn't cost you anything. They can make an appointment. You can go ahead and see them. You can call them. They have peer counselors and different people that can call you. They'll send you links, I think now like this that I'm going to put in there. The hospital, ask them. Sometimes they have breastfeeding classes. They may cost a little bit. I'm not for sure. I don't remember anything on that. And since I'm already know about breastfeeding and stuff like that, I didn't take classes. But usually your hospitals will offer classes. or there is other programs in your area that will. Just Google it. There is plenty of help out there that can help you and people support you. And you may even have friends and family that's very supportive and can help. Just reach out to them. Don't feel ashamed. No question is a stupid question. It's best to ask and find out and learn so you can do better than not and then quit and give up. But anyway, I want to thank you for watching from Raising Ronies. You have a blessed day. And don't forget, if you have any questions or anything, just leave them in the comments. I will get to you as soon as I can. Thank you.